Guys, today's exercise that we'll be mastering is the pull-up. First of all, before we get into the pull-up, let me show you the range of motion, the ideal range of motion. Look over here. For the pull-up, you don't want to hyperextend your elbows, locking it out too much. You want to have a little 90-degree angle while you're locked out. When you pull up, you want to pull up to your chin. You could go to your chest if you want, or you can go to your stomach if you want, your torso. You can go to your torso if you want, but that takes out of your lats, especially if you want to gain mass and look bigger. The illusion of looking bigger, developing your lataris muscles, it takes away from it if you do pull-ups past this point right here, guys. Very important for you to remember the ideal range of motion for a pull-up and speed, tempo. We're gonna be doing every single thing with tempo. 2 seconds, 1, 2. 1 second, come back down, 2 seconds. That is a correct pull-up. Now let's get down to mastering a pull-up. The thing that I have to explain about the pull-up is kipping. You need to not use any type of kipping motion, especially if you want to develop your muscles and adapt to the next progression of the pull-up. Mastering it so you can be able to do a muscle-up or a one-arm pull-up. No kipping. Use the muscle groups that you have to pull yourself up. All those pulling muscles is what you need to focus on. No momentum, no kipping. Slow tempo. This is the best way to grow, and it's the fastest, being slow. Let's go. Very first pull-up for you to be able to master being able to do a one-arm pull-up, we're gonna do a vertical pull. But you're gonna have a little support on the bottom so you can be able to get yourself up to the top. So if you need to, I'm just gaining a little bit of support and then using my muscle groups to go up a little bit and hold it. This is your first step to being able to master the pull-up. If you're a beginner, how about that for me? If you're a beginner, you could do one set of 10, nice and slow. If you're intermediate, you do 2 sets of 20 reps. And if you think you can master this, test your body out by doing 3 sets of 40. If you can complete that, then you move on to the next progression of pull-ups, which is, so guys, the next pull-up variation is inverted pulls. Keep that nice slow tempo, staying 1 second into the negative, then going back down into the positive, guys. You want to complete this if you're a beginner, at least for 1 set for maybe about 10 reps. Same thing like the other pull-ups. Intermediate, 2 sets of 20. And to be able to master this, you need to do 3 sets of 30 to move on to the next progression of pull-ups. Which would be, is shorties half pull-ups. In order to master the full range of motion, you need to have your muscle groups adapt so you can be able to master that half pull-up. If you're a beginner, you can, look, focus on your lats, focus on your bicep, your triceps, so many muscle groups. But if you're a beginner, as I said, you can do 1 set of 8. If you're intermediate, you do 2 sets of 11. And if you feel as if you can master this and get to the next level, you do 2 sets of 15. The next level is full pull-ups. I'll go with you. Hold it. Full pull-ups. If you're a beginner, you do 1 set of 5. Remember the tempo. If you're intermediate, what does intermediate say? What did I write down? Let them know.
For intermediate,
What it says?
2 sets of 8.
Uh-huh.
And if you can master the intermediate level, you can move on to the advanced level, which is 2 sets of 10.
Let's go. And as you can see, if you can do 2 sets of 10 pull-ups, nice with that slow tempo, not only will you build crazy strong muscles that look like this, but you'll be able to adapt to having muscles that changes and evolve so you can have superpowers. The next pull-up variation that we're gonna do, the next progression, is a close pull-up. Yeah. Same thing, guys. First set if you're a beginner.
First set for the
5.
beginner is 5.
Yep, what's the second set? If you're intermediate.
If you can master the beginner level, you move on to the intermediate level, which is 2 sets of 8. And once you can conquer the intermediate level, then you can move on to the progression of the master level, 2 sets of 10.
Let's go. Working on all these muscle groups to be able to have you building, looking super sculpted, muscular, having that masculinity brought back into your soul body, feeling yourself as you look in the mirror and look and know that you're sexy. For you to be able to move on to the next pull-up progression. The next pull-up progression is uneven pull-ups, especially if you want to be able to master the pull-up to be able to get to the one arm, nice and slow. If you're a beginner, your first set would be 5. If you're intermediate, you do 2 sets of 7. And when you can master that, you get to 3 sets of what?
2 sets of 9.
2 sets of 9.
Make sure you're doing the reps on both sides. So it's beginners,
Each side, yep.
1 set of 5 reps on
Each side, yep.
5 reps on one side,
5 reps on the other one, yup.
Intermediate, 2 sets of 7 on
Each side.
Each side. 7 reps on the left side, 7 reps on the right side.
Yes.
And then advanced, 2 sets of 9 reps on each side.
Look at the muscle groups that you work on, especially your lats, your triceps, everything coming here into the bicep, and isolating your muscles so they can stabilize and strengthen so you'll be able to do the next progression, which will be the half one-arm pull-up. Come on, I know you got that.
And I think you skipped.
Nah. Oh, okay, no, you're right. No, half, yeah, half one-arm pull-up. Yeah, half one-arm. Hell yeah. So, nope. That's not it? Nope. Half one-arm.
Sorry, bro.
Pull up one. Halfway. And you come down. Halfway. Feel me? Pull up. Halfway. Hold there. Come down. Feel me? Pop out, King. On both sides. If you're a beginner, you do 1 set of 4. Halfway. Yup, right there. It's perfect. If you're intermediate, you do 2 sets of 6. Both sides. To get to the next level, which is the master level of this exercise, you do 2 sets of 8, both sides. Once you've mastered that, you'll be able to move on to the next progression, which is the assisted one-arm pull-ups. Remember your tempo. Remember that you're doing both arms. You can't do one side and not the other. If you're a beginner, you're doing 1 set of 3 reps. If you're intermediate, you do 2 sets of 5 reps. If you think you've mastered this, you do 2 sets of 7 to move on to the next level, which is one-arm pull-ups. If you're a beginner for one arm, you do 1 set of 1. Feel me? If you are intermediate, you do 2 sets of 6. Both arms. And if you're master, you do 2 sets of 8, both arms. And then you'll be master of the pull-up game, guys, because you'll not only be able to do, see what I just did, the one-arm pull-up, displaying that I've mastered the pull-up, not showing you guys, but my body has went through all the pull-up phases to the point where now I can do other things. You adapt and you can do other things. Muscle up, or even a front lever. Skills like this you will adapt, and you will naturally just gain by practicing and focusing on the basics. And if none of those pull-up variations help you feel satisfied, but you still want to work those same muscle groups, do these L-sit pull-ups. Look at the tempo. And if that's not good enough for you, you can also do these. Especially if those other poses are good enough for you. And if these aren't good enough for you, then you can move on to another pull-up variation, which is these. I call these couch pulls. And if this isn't good enough for you, then that means all you gotta do is, you can do these. still affecting the same pulling muscles that you was just working with all those other exercises. But if that's not good enough for you, you can do these. Remember your tempo, nice and slow. All the variations of pulls that we just gave you, you need to do them for at least 30 seconds to 1 minute for at least 3 to 5 sets, especially if you want to master your pull-ups. Do these.